Hello, my name is Michelle Trick, and tonight we're going to talk about Agile methodology. So can anybody tell me what sport this is from?
Rugby.
Anybody? Yes, this is actually from rugby. Now, you probably don't see how this sport can relate to computers or technology, but I'm going to tell you an interesting fact about how they actually are related. So in the sport of rugby, there is what they call a scrum, which is where your team works together as one unit to move the ball from one end of the field to the other. Now, in Agile software development, we also use the word scrum, and this is where your project team works together to deliver a product for your client. So Agile actually took this word from the sport of rugby. This sport may be a little unfamiliar to you guys, but I'm almost certain everybody can relate to computers and technology. I want you guys to think about how many websites you visit on a given day or how many electronic devices you own. But have you ever thought, how do these different technologies get designed and get developed? That's where Agile will come into the picture. In an article from PC World magazine, Jacob Jackson stated that Agile development has emerged as a popular approach for software development. So tonight we're going to look at how the key members of Agile work together through 3 different phases of development. The first one being planning sessions, followed by sprints, and lastly, retrospectives. So who makes up your project team? First, we have the product owner, and this is essentially one of the most important people in your team. This is your client. It's who you're developing this product for. It is your business partner. The product owner is heavily involved in all aspects of the Agile lifecycle. Next, we move on to the Scrum Master. This is similar to a project manager in that they oversee all activities of the team. They also manage the project itself from the beginning through the end. They help to coordinate any meetings between external teams or any vendors, and they're actually in charge of running a lot of the meetings. And lastly, we have our developers and our testers. And without these folks, the project would not get completed. So your developers are actually in charge of writing the code based off what your product owner wants. And the testers, their sole purpose, I would say, is to test this code and uncover any problems or any bugs that need to be fixed before getting released. So we'll look at how all these players play a role in the 3 different phases. And the first phase I want to look at is the planning phase. Now, this takes place at the beginning of the project lifecycle, and it often involves several sessions before being complete. This is where your product owner will dictate what his requirements are. So he'll tell you what his wants and what his needs are. These are documented in what is called a user story. And the user stories are documented by the Scrum Master. They are agreed upon with all team members and discussed. The user stories are also prioritized based on what the product owner wants. Now, this is something very important to note because it'll ensure that your team is only delivering the most valuable functionality to the client. They're going to deliver your product owner's top items as opposed to something he might not really want. Also, during the planning session, it's a very collaborative effort where your product owner is heavily involved. I got the chance to interview Attila Bora, who is the Vice President and Development Manager for call center applications at Merrill Lynch, and he told me why he thought planning sessions with your client are absolutely critical. He stated that you create a better product when you work closely because everyone, the whole project team, will understand the business needs. And I would agree with that as well. So the planning session will tell you what needs to be executed in the next phase. And the next phase of the project lifecycle is called sprints. This is where your developers will take those user stories and actually write the code to create the product. So during this phase, you can have multiple sprints or multiple iterations, as you see here, and each sprint lasts for a set period of time. I recently worked on a project here at Merrill Lynch called iSurf, which got released in November. It's a new web app. And for this project, we used Agile, and we had a total of 6 sprints, and each sprint lasted 2 weeks in length. Now, this time can depend on your team's preference, and it could also depend on any milestones that have to be met. Also during this time, Testing is happening simultaneously as development. And this is a really good approach because it allows the test team to find any bugs, any defects early on in the stage. And then it gives the developers an opportunity to fix those problems in the next cycle or the next iteration. This iterative fashion is something that is specific to Agile, and it's less common in other types of software delivery methods, such as waterfall approach. So at the end of each sprint, it's nice to kind of look at what went well and what didn't go so well. And that leads us to our third and final stage of development, which is called the retrospective. This is where the whole team comes together, once again, and discuss any pain points they had. They think about what problems they faced. An important part is they also make suggestions about what they can do in the next iteration to kind of improve upon what happened previously. So my interview with Attila also stated that without these retrospectives, your team is just going to continue and make the same mistakes. So these are also very vital to the project lifecycle. So overall, I would like to conclude that Agile methodology is just one form of software development that is commonly used in the industry today. The main players are heavily involved throughout the whole project lifecycle. We looked at the 3 different stages of development, first being planning sessions, followed by sprints, and lastly, retrospectives. So Agile really focuses on working together collaboratively as a team, and it can be an effective way to develop software. Thank you.